25 years later, it is hitting her pretty hard. Cindy, so I'm sending you some love today to you and your family. Lots of love going out to you, and God's peace upon you all. You know, you tend to think, Julian, that because 25 years would have passed, that, you know, it would be easier, but some days are a little bit different from others, yeah?
Yeah, and I can tell you that for a fact. It's
know
never
the
easy.
feeling.
I know that feeling. And to be very honest with you, some say, oh yeah, the years will take it away. It doesn't ever take it away. You know, it probably allows you to deal with the reality a little bit more, but it doesn't ever take it away.
Right.
Because even years later, I have my moments as well in the mix. So it's quite natural, but you know, I continue to pray and to really seek God's guidance.
All right. Well, let me just share a very quick story here, Julian, about something that happened on Saturday morning. Getting ready to leave home to go open a business in Scarborough, and I noticed a young woman, clearly in pain, recognizing a little bit later on that she was in labor. This is in Delaford. This is at, and it's the 8, about 7:30 to 7:45. Clearly in labor, trying to get transportation to stop a maxi, a car, and anything, mind you, to get to the hospital. So we gave her a lift. She was in the company of a gentleman who was holding 2 bags. We took them. I mean, we drove I'm being honest here. We drove as quickly as we could, but as safely as we could, but as quickly as we could to get them to the hospital. My question is, when will the Roxborough Hospital be up and running? Had that hospital been up and running, Julian, she would have just simply gone to Roxborough and delivered her baby. And I'm saying here, this project...
You're speaking about the hospital that was open twice? Oh, okay, all right. Go ahead, Ria. So when would it actually be open and functional? Excellent,
yeah.
excellent. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah. More so functional for the people of the East. And I'm saying here, under the last administration, one would have thought that that project, because it had been clamored for so many years, that project would have been one that they would have kicked off the ground completely, not relocating the health center from the main road to there, but a functional health facility, a functional hospital. Why is it that people of the East still have to be going through this and rushing, you know, putting husband and I under pressure to rush to the hospital? If she had gone further into labor and tried to give birth in my vehicle, I don't know what I would have done. Because I can't help myself. The thing is, I don't know what it is to be in labor. I have 3 children, but I've never experienced labor, full stop. But I wouldn't know what to do. Okay, so I'd be one of those holding my head like, I wouldn't know what
next?
to do. Yeah. Well, you know what? I need to be careful what motions I make on air these days. So let me keep my hands to myself. I'm going to keep my hands down because... All right.
Well, Ria, I think that speaks directly to, again, and the responsibility and the task is now on the current administration. Dr. Faith, Secretary, you know, with responsibility for health. And it speaks to the Chief Secretary yesterday outlined following the intense retreat over the last, I think it would have been from Wednesday, thereabout, would have identified a number of areas as first quarter priorities.
Right.
And one such area that would have been identified as a starting point is to treat with the issue of contract employment specific to TRHA temporary employees. And honestly, I thought that the 3-year considerations for contract was already extended, but apparently it was not. And I now understand the cries of those in our nursing fraternity in particular. And you saw that there was an identification that 133 TRHA employees under the age of 60 to be regularized to 3-year contracts immediately.
Yeah.
And you know, as I indicated, you saw some persons raising issues about others, but the Chief Sec gave a clear commitment that we have to start somewhere. And what better place to start than actually with our frontline workers,
That's
some
right.
of our frontline workers that have really been toiling in the vineyard. And I want to say kudos at that in terms of the start. Let's hope that this confirmation, Ria, is actually an indication that would move towards permanency consideration for some of the others in terms of nurses that have been on for an extended period, and then allowing us to really outfit our healthcare facilities so that when we say we open, we not just opening for the sake of saying the building is ready.
That's right.
But we're opening for the sake of saying that we are actually ready to deliver services
Manpower.
and to make it functional in terms of how. So we kind of make the opening make sense.
That's right.
As opposed to multiplying the opening. We make the opening make sense by actually being ready to deliver the services that we are prepared to deal with. So that's a good indication. The Chief Secretary dealt with a number of areas here. I suspect we'll have to treat with these areas over the week because of the amount of them. But certainly, I think persons welcome that in terms of the kinds of details that would have been provided.
Definitely. We're switching gears just a quick bit here before we encourage our viewers to share the live. We want to send a shout out this morning to Darylyn Smart and Jerome Smart and their family. Lots of love going out to you guys today. And we had a birthday yesterday, a very special birthday. One of my youngest nephews celebrated his birthday yesterday. Josiah Richardson. There is Josiah. That's my Jojo. Celebrated his birthday yesterday. So happy birthday going out to you, Jojo, from uncle and auntie and grandma and granddad and everybody. So love going out to you.
Yes, certainly. Birthday greetings going out there.
As well as Claire Guy, who's celebrating her birthday, yesterday. So Claire Guy, and this is Officer Claire Guy, is this not? So I need, is it Inspector? I think this is Inspector Guy. So happy birthday going out to you. Happy belated birthday going out to you. Lots of love from the Tobago Updates family. Yeah, that's your crew there,
and
Inspector
Guy. If by
Guy.
chance, Ria, it isn't Inspector, we are speaking it into being in Jesus' name here on the Tobago Updates. We called it first.
That's right, Claire Guy. All right, so Julian, what's coming up this morning on the program?
Well, this morning on the program, we have first on our lineup, Shane Mohammed, political scientist and analyst, and we'll be discussing the Tobago House of Assembly retreat and the outcomes that would have been announced yesterday, as many as we'll be able to get through in this segment. So we're having that discussion with Shane Mohammed, political scientist and analyst this morning.
And followed by that, we've got Mr. Alan Stewart, director of TEMA. And this morning, the conversation goes along the lines of 1,000 strong volunteer programs. So it's all about those persons who want to jump in and, get down and dirty and help out those who are in need.
Our next segment on the lineup this morning will be with Michael Frank. Let's build back our tourism sector. And in case you're confused and wondering, who Michael is this in the tourism sector? It's the owner and operators of Frankie's Tours. All right, so we look forward to that conversation this morning with Frankie's Tours.
And closing us off, we are chatting with Dr. Cindy Duke, medical doctor, PhD of FACOG, and she'll be chatting with us on keeping your immune system healthy. So, quite an interesting lineup this morning, and we encourage our viewers this morning to help me here, Julian.
Yes, well, Ria, even before we run there, I see on our live this morning, and I particularly like, normally when you are in the Tobago space, you take it for granted of your very own communities. Rolex Johnson, I see you this morning from the beautiful space side.
And he is an avid viewer of the program. Good morning to you, Pastor Rolex.
Happy to have you on with us this morning. I'm also seeing on the lineup Nadine Nichols, Donna Mae Walcott, and Natalie Kajo Nelson. We want to say good morning to each and every one of you joining us on the live. And we want to remind you, remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
It's a different type of thing down there. Man, we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
To all Tobagonians and visitors of this beautiful island, the Tobago Recycling Resource Initiative is seeking your efforts and support in keeping a clean and organized, friendly environment. In doing so, drop-off bins are located at strategic areas around Tobago for your recyclable materials such as plastics, aluminum and steel cans, glass bottles and Tetra packs in bags, and let's protect our environment. Our own Tobago Recycling Resource Initiative is here to propel that change. Look for the white bin nearest to your area.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash in transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
I'm Patricia Nicholson Richards to our
Welcome
top
to Tobago
story.
Update Sports. I'm your boy Marcus Daniel. Thank you.
Trinidad and looms as
remains when
the public is
nobody lives here. Oil and gas exploration continues to affect the livelihood.
Spearsides marine industry. Tobago fishermen
When will the
Sion
Roxborough
Francis
Hospital be fully functional?
of the 5 a.m. to 12 p.m. window
Still
at the
find
island
treasures like the Golden
continue to
Waterfall.
rise in Tobago.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. It's 7:14 a.m. In this segment, we are chatting with Shane Mohammed, political scientist and analyst, as we discuss the outcome of the Tobago House of Assembly retreat just concluded yesterday with a number of announcements by Chief Secretary Farley Augustine. Good morning, Shane.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
And welcome to Tobago Updates.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so we're running straight into the discussions this morning, Shane, and we're chatting about the THA retreat that just took place with the new administration in office. The retreat took place over a 5-day period, and we would have heard the Chief Secretary make a number of announcements. What was your first impression by virtue of the amount of details that would have been revealed and plans as he would have identified it for the first quarter?
Where in Tobago has he not touched? That was the first impression. When I look at the list of the rollouts and the plans and the expectations for the first quarter, I said, my God, what part of Tobago did this man not touch? Recognizing that all of Tobago, he didn't focus on one particular area in Tobago. I mean, I started listing from Gru all the way to Calder Hall, and you know there are things that people will look at in Trinidad or in another island and say, but these are little things. But these are the little things that go unrecognized. They are left unseen. They are not paid attention to from the perspective of a governance level. But these are the little things that make a difference, especially when you are touching villages and touching lives and touching the livelihoods in terms of how people live in community. Touching communities is what I want to say. And I really found that this man did not leave out a single thing. Now, when I look at it, I'm very impressed with the fact that he said that public servants will serve all of the people, and there will be a change in the policy regarding those who are entering the offices of the THA, not requiring to dress you will not turn away someone who is dressed in a t-shirt or a slip or a short pants. We will dress professionally and serve the people as they come. Excellent, fantastic, a move, because we recognize that people come from very different demographics, and we seem to be ignorant of the fact. And sometimes it's a simple question someone may want to ask, and they have to go downtown and they have to go down into the office. You would tell me a man, somebody might be in town himself, and he had to go to the market and he put on his short pants, and he remember I need to go to rural development and settlements, and you get there and they say, well, no, I want our short pants and slippers, we cannot deal with you. I think that getting rid of that was actually a very good idea, and I like the fact that he said we will serve the people as they come. The rural electrification program, the fact that he has asked the Minister of Tourism and the Secretary of Tourism and Transport to at least within the first quarter get one international airlift, one new international airlift out of Tobago. So, guys, when you look at it, I think he's off. I've tried on several occasions to get a phrase that will describe how he has started, how he has begun, and I could only find one word, and put it into a phrase that it's the perfect start. It's the perfect start when you look at it from the perspective of him also inviting the minority leader to the briefings, the COVID briefings, and the briefings as it pertains to the health secretary and her portfolio when she's talking about COVID and vaccinations and all of that. So there's no exclusion of governance on his part, and he's not rubbing 14-1 in the face of the other party, but he's really about inclusion, and it's really about making Tobago a better space and a better living space. So I'm very impressed.
Okay, seeing a very different type of politics being exhibited this time around. With regards to what came out of the retreat over the last few days, one of the issues I want to ask you about here, a Tobago office established in Trinidad with responsibility for attracting and engaging investors, pursuing autonomy, and educating Trinidadians on Tobago autonomy. I want to chat a little bit about that. In your expert opinion, do you believe or do you think that Trinidadians understand the plight of Tobagonians when some of them are asking for autonomy? Do you think Trinidadians understand what it entails? Do you think they understand the plight of having to depend on Trinidad, Tobagonians having to depend on Trinidad for everything?
So I call a spade, right? And I did have that listed as something that stood out to me. A Tobago office established in Trinidad, together with a standalone office for the Deputy Chief Secretary. The answer that I would give you is Trinidadians are ignorant. They are ignorant, completely ignorant to the needs and the plight of the people of Tobago, and understanding the need for Tobago to be able to stand alone, and the importance, not only the need, but the importance of Tobago and Tobagonians to be able to become quote unquote independent. And when I think about independent, I think about political autonomy and financial independence. And the answer to that question is no, they don't. Because you see, the regular Trinidadian is going over to Tobago, to Lime, to have a party, to go for the weekend, to go Pigeon Point, lie down, take a relax. They are not. How many of them are taking the time to go down and walk down into Scarborough and walk on the streets of Scarborough? How many of them have taken the time to take a drive into rural Tobago, and even if you have taken the time to drive into rural Tobago, really and truly observe what are the issues that are facing the rural parts of Tobago, and where they're not looking at it from with the lens of, well, I will be biased here to say, they're not looking through my lens. So yeah, whilst last weekend I was in Tobago, for New Year's weekend I was in Tobago, and the one thing that I did before I left again was drive around the island, and the picturesque view of Charlottesville. Obviously, we by the time I got to Charlottesville, it was after 12, so we had nobody on the beach. But just that view of Charlottesville is something that is very majestic. And then we go down to Englishman's Bay and all of these beautiful beaches. I was able to climb on the rocks at Black Rock and really enjoy that experience. The thing about it is, I love the fact that he's going to focus on tourism, and tourism, domestic tourism and international tourism is two different things, and it's not all about just simply booking a flight or getting on the boat and going with your families to Tobago to enjoy the weekend, but it's also about going to Tobago and understanding the culture, the people, the mindsets, the mindsets of the Trinidadians, the deficiencies in governance, the fact that Tobagonians have an expectation for themselves, and they are entitled to that expectation, and they are entitled to want better for themselves. And to be quite honest with you, and I make absolutely no apologies for what I'm about to say, is that Trinidadians, both the regular Trinidadians and the politicians, have been completely ignorant to what is really and truly needed in the Tobago space from a governance perspective.
Specifically on the announcement that speaks to Tobago will be on its way to becoming the #1 producer of alternative flour in the Caribbean, especially now where we have issues with increasing prices, specifically with wheat flour.
Yeah, well, I saw that and I listed that as well. And, that's a very ambitious and extremely ambitious project. I gather that he will be focusing on alternative flour like cassava flour, and other flours that can be made from ground provision. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see flour made from yam. I know we can have cassava made from flour. Who knows? We may see flour being made from dried pumpkin and that kind of thing. But it's about setting up the infrastructure and also encouraging small farmers to. It's also a mechanism to engage small farmers who have the raw materials that are available and that are not being exported to make money to be able to, I guess, produce at a larger level once they start. But I really and truly look forward to this. I hope the establishment of the factory, the mills, would be placed at the Cove Industrial Estate, because there's a lot of space at Cove, and I would like to see the Cove Industrial Estate used to the benefit of the people of Tobago and not to foreigners, or not to Trinidadians in particular, the rich and wealthy, that is. And I make no apologies for saying that. I think I will say,
away there from saying the 1%. But carry on, Shane.
No, but the thing about it is, it's not only about the 1%. It is about giving. I would say it's somebody had mentioned previously that it's all about taking Tobago to at a nationalist level, and I see nothing wrong with Tobago having a nationalist perspective and Tobago wanting to be seen whether as a standalone island in the international forums or seen as a part of Trinidad and Tobago. It can be both. It can be done at both levels. But at the end of the day, to be quite honest with you, Julia and I had a serious problem with the 12 acres that was given to the for strawberry. I don't understand why it is we couldn't have that 12 acres given for the production of a local fruit in Tobago. There are so many different local fruits in Trinidad and Tobago, and especially in Tobago. I have a serious problem with the fact that they went down the route of strawberry. I find that nonsensical. I found it offensive because I think that could have been 12 acres given for the production of a Tobagonian fruit. And I mean, what is wrong with that? Somebody said, well, they had the soil. The soil is, I don't care if these, you're gonna make me cuss, but I don't care if the soil. I nearly said.
I think we have to leave it there. We're out of time, Shane. So we got to leave it there for this morning. But we definitely will be able to continue the conversation at some point because there's so much to discuss in terms of the plans and projections.
Definitely.
Overall, this is excellent plans, and it is impressive. It is people-centered. It is community-driven. And it is a new style of leadership that Trinidad could borrow.
Thank you so much, Shane Mohammed. Always a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much. We definitely will be checking in with you at a later date. Always a pleasure. Viewers, just before we introduce our next guest, we just want to send out some birthday greetings to Roya Hercules, coming from Deandra Hercules Jack. Her sister Roya celebrated her birthday yesterday. And Donna Mae Walcott is indicating on the live that this is the first time listening from New York. Thanks, Kino Beard. Kino Beard, thank you for sharing the link with Donna Mae. And Donna Mae, we're happy to have you on the live with us this morning. So viewers, we encourage you this morning to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Good morning, Donna Mae.
Good morning, good morning. Put a smile on your
I'm Patricia Nicholson Richards to our top
Tobago
story.
Update Sports. I'm your boy Marcus Daniel. Thank you.
Trinidad and looms
And remains when
the public is
nobody lives here. Oil and gas exploration continues to affect the livelihood.
Spearsides Marine
In Tobago fishermen, when will the Roxborough Hospital be fully functional?
of the 5 a.m. to 12 p.m. window
Still find
at the islands
treasures like the Golden
continue
Waterfall.
to rise in Tobago.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, Good morning,
morning viewers. It's 7:31 a.m. Welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We're coming to you live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. In this segment, we are chatting with Alan Stewart, Director for TEMA, the Tobago Emergency Management Agency. And folks, you know, I knew Mr. Stewart and I know him in his formal capacity, and I have to say, this morning, but it happens that the Tobago Update studio, I saw a lighter side of Mr. Stewart. So many persons here to assist him with a photo. The man is busy taking his own selfie. Good morning to you, sir.
It's important that we keep the promotions going. You know, there are people out there. There are over 400 registrants in the CERT 1000 strong program, and it's important to have them engaged this morning.
You see what I mean? He actually knows his numbers.
That's right. It's important to keep abreast of your numbers. No two ways about it.
So this morning we're going straight ahead into discussing CERT 1000 strong. What is this initiative about?
This initiative is about making our communities across Tobago resilient. We recognize that the world today, through climate change and climate variability, has become a very, very troubling place to live today as a result of the onset of climate change. And therefore, we are recognizing that hydrometeorological events are becoming extremely more severe. The weathers that we deal with today is not what we had yesterday. And therefore, we are of the opinion that in order for Tobago to demonstrate to itself that it is ready to deal with a catastrophic event, numbers really matter. And this is what CERT 1000 strong is all about, Julian.
All right. And one of the things, you know, you mentioned it there in terms of changing times. I feel like when I was just the other day in high school and university, you'd probably only hear about major announcements with weather patterns and so on when there's a storm or a hurricane coming.
Yeah.
Now I could wake up this morning and hear that we are yellow alert, and give us a sense of what's happening there. Is that improvements in the technology that's better allowing us to identify these things earlier?
Well, I for the sake of the Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service and the World Meteorological Service, they have advised that the onset of climate change began some 50 years ago. What we have seen is an increased intensity as a result of greenhouse gases and what is happening in the atmosphere today. It's already on. Up just last year in September and October, we experienced winds impacting Tobago and causing damages along many communities across Tobago without announcement of a tropical storm or anything like that. So it is quite clear, Julian, that times has changed. Climate variability is one of the things that we must appreciate that is happening. And also, over a period of time, you have recognized that these weather phenomena are behaving in a particular manner that we just have to respond adequately to them. And therefore, the way to do that is to allow our communities to be resilient. To build resiliency in the community means that you have to train people in large numbers. You also have to tool them. You also have to have them properly structured. There is always a willingness among the population to assist. I saw that in 2004.
And I want you, as you're responding to that, to delve in for me to some of the specific activities of the 1000 strong for those who are volunteering.
Just over the past, just about close to 24 hours or so yesterday, we started an introductory course to disaster management. And we saw it being maxed out. In other words, I mentioned that there are over 400 persons registered so far, and the numbers keep growing even as we speak. And yesterday we saw the entire classroom being maxed out on the 2 days. Over 100 persons registered and participated, fully engaged for the 2 days. And it speaks to the tooling that I speak about in having persons equipped with the information that is necessary, understanding the principles of disaster management, understanding exactly what are the resources, what are my role. People have that willingness to help, but they need to be organized in the community. They need to be properly tooled. They need to be properly have the necessary PPEs and understand exactly. So what we are doing, we're going to see a training exercises that will allow these persons to be equipped. We will do the necessaries in terms of radio communications. We will understand the necessity of allowing them to operate with chainsaws. Over the years, we recognize that fallen trees and trees is a major, major hazard. We saw the patterns in 2004, followed by 2005, where both Hurricane Ivan and also the November severe weather in 2004, followed by these events, have caused a type of devastation that allow communities to be cut off. We think that if we embed these resources within the community and have the ability to mobilize them at short notice, we are preparing for the catastrophic event, whereby you want to make sure that at least there are about no less than 20 persons, and much of that 20 persons must be a lot of testosterone in the community, whereby you can have that type of help in the communities to do the heavy lifting and to be able to respond adequately to these devastating events when they happen. And therefore, this is what the training is all about. There's a number of training. GIS training is coming up or went by. We also have the possibility of our partnership with some of our stakeholders, Humanitat. They are on board, and they will be assisting us with construction training, because we feel that for persons to respond well, not only they need to build a form of resilience, understanding these building techniques, but if they are to do damage assessments and needs analysis within the community themselves that they are responding to, then it's obviously important that they understand the rudiments of construction to some level so that they could do the proper assessment, so that that type of response can be had.
How do you respond to persons who may be looking on, they heard of this CERT 1000 strong, and they say, but oh gosh, when I look on it, there's only be them strapping young men who could fight up. But the person may have a passion and an interest in really being able to provide that kind of support. Is there room for them in terms of being able to volunteer?
Absolutely.
Because you might find quite naturally, and let me use the example, a mother who plays that role naturally in her household for her children and, you know, the family and so on, in relation to if something happens and she and daddy kicks into that kind of emergency mode. Is there a role for those persons?
Let me answer that. There's a role for everyone. In terms of the disaster management continuum, it's important that we understand that it involves information management. We have seen, when you examine, when you peruse the document in terms of persons who have registered for this program, they are coming from all walks of life, because they understand that. They understand. We have teachers, we have police officers, you have fire officers, you have the ordinary man in the street. When I talk about the testosterone, I was speaking about getting those meals, those fishermen, people who has that hands-on capability, but also the softer skills are very important in terms of message handling and doing the necessary administrative work behind the scenes. My vision, or our vision for CERT 1000 Strong, is to see it catapult into an association of emergency volunteer association that can hold strong on its own. While it is my ambition also to see us involve the private sector and make certain approaches and do the necessary collaboration for sponsorship for persons and communities and the private sector to invest in the Tobago community, building out the Tobago community in a way that even the politicians are speaking about it going forward. It is necessary for us to get everybody on board, so we will be reaching out to the private sector, for you guys to come on board and do the necessaries to ensure that you play your stake or do your thing to ensure that this thing happen, and also, importantly, Julian, that is sustained in the community.
All right. Before we run out of time this morning in this interview, just give our viewers a sense of how can they get in contact for those who are hearing about this potentially for the first time, or they've heard about it before and they're now realizing, but wait, based on what Alan's saying, they could get into this thing.
Is happening. Yes,
give them the contact information. How can they connect with in order to become a part of this CERT 1000 Strong?
Yeah. So one of the things we have recognized is the use of social media, and it's excellent indeed. And therefore, I will ask persons to go to our Facebook page, go to tima365.com or website, and you are exposed to the forms online, and you could do your thing from right there. It is that easy as 1, 2, 3. We have a wonderful team that is working with you to make sure that you do the necessaries and get in. They will walk you through these steps and make it possible, very possible for you to be a part of the program indeed.
All right. Thank you very much again, Mr. Alan Stewart.
Oh, the pleasure is mine.
This morning, and we want to encourage persons. This is our opportunity to volunteer. This is your opportunity to make a difference. And TIMA is creating that opportunity so that in challenging times, we are already prepared and we're not panicking, because I like the part, especially that you will have several numbers of persons within the respective communities able to respond almost immediately. All right, folks, so we want to thank Mr. Alan Stewart there again in this segment as we were discussing CERT 1,000 strong. We move straight along into the next segment this morning. Candice Jackson will be interviewing Michael Frank, owner and operator of Frankie's Store. Candice, good morning.
Good morning, Tobago, and good morning to you, Julian, and all of you there in studio. Of course, I am Candice, and I am coming to you live from the Gypsum Jetty in Bon Accord, where we, of course, as Julian stated, we're going to be talking to Frankie. But before we get to talk to Frankie, because as we just saw there, Frankie's on his boat, we have to get to his boat. So to get to his boat, I have to go on to another little boat by our trusty boatman, Santana. So come with me as we go, right? Yes, so of course, and you're probably wondering why is it that Candice has to go onto another boat before getting onto Frankie, and that is because Frankie, like a lot of the other boat owners in Tobago, are faced with issues where their engines and so on are concerned, their assets are concerned. I mean, we've heard from several persons that that engines and so on are not working. It's been very difficult for them to maintain stuff as they are not being able to use it on a daily basis. I mean, there were many restrictions over the past months. You know, some boatmen were unable to even get to their boats on a daily basis just to make sure everything is all right. So we are here now having to take a little boat over to the bigger boat. And of course, we are going to be talking to Frankie a little bit about what was said by Mr. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine yesterday at the press conference following the 5-day retreat of the THA Executive Council, where he explained that, you know, they are still advocating or trying their best to advocate for the reef tour operators in Tobago, because of course we are in a very, very unique situation in Tobago, and they want to make sure that, you know, our owners and so on can get back to business, because this prolonged restrictions have really been affecting the reef tour operators, you know, and a lot of them, even though, you know, things are really dire for them right now, they would rather just get back to business. But it has been difficult because even though the beaches are open from 5 a.m. to 12 p.m., they are unable to operate. So what we're going to be talking to Frankie in a little bit about, you know, some of those concerns. So hopefully morning. I don't get to fall in the water. Hopefully my cameraman doesn't fall in the water, because guess what? My cameraman is on board with me right now.
Take your hands.
So
welcome aboard, Frankie Tours.
Thank you, Frankie, and welcome to Tobago Updates. And of course, you know, folks, we in Tobago Updates, we gotta do things in style. So just hold on a sec while we make sure our cameraman is on board. Great, no one fell in. That is a miracle. So we're going
you guys
up.
Come upstairs.
Right. So we're getting the full tour of Frankie's tour boat. But anyways, so again, good morning to you, Frankie. How are you doing?
Good morning, and good morning to the viewers, Trinidad and Tobago worldwide.
Great.
Good to have you out here.
Great to be on board. Now, I want to get from you the initial comments from Mr. Fali Augustine yesterday. He's saying that, you know, the THA has been advocating. They have been, you know, writing the letters and so on to the Ministry of Health to get a special exemption for Tobago, especially reef tour operators, well, not just in the Bucco Reef, but all over Tobago. Is that any sort of comfort to your ears?
Definitely. I think the Chief Sec and his team is doing a really great job. I appreciate all the comments. I've listened to the comments yesterday, and I was very, very happy to hear that he's actually doing what he plans to do, getting things fixed on Tobago.
Okay, great. Now, of course, one of the things that he also said is that starting from this week, they are going to be meeting with the members of the tourism sector. So, have you guys been able to get any invitation where that's concerned?
Yes, definitely. He have reached out to the Reef Tour Association. We are supposed to be holding a meeting with them on the 27th of this month, which we are definitely looking forward to.
Okay, great. So tell me a little bit about some of the things that you all are going to be bringing to the table where that is concerned. Like, what are some of the suggestions are you going to be placing on the table for how things can be improved within the Reef Tour Association?
Okay, well, the list is extremely long, but I will shorten it down just to the main points. First, we would like to operate, and we would like the beaches of Tobago to open for the day. If they do that, then it does not have the cluster at any one time, and we can spread out things more evenly. In terms of the boat, we can operate and at least do our trips, do 1 or 2 trips in the daytime. All the boats are already, before this first lockdown, they are already designed to deal with COVID. I mean, we are COVID ready in every way and form. From vaccination to sanitizers to social distances, we already had that in place already. As you can see, the boat is quite big, so we are expecting to take at least half capacity. This is only one level, and then there's the other level downstairs. This boat is licensed for 75 passengers. If you was to put, say, 35 to 40 passengers on it, they would literally disappear. You wouldn't even see them on board.
Right. And I mean, and you said that there's about 30 reef tour operators in the association. All right. And how many do you think are around the area, outside, even outside of the reef tour operations?
Well, Tobago is a very small knit community. So if you're operating in Pigeon Point or Store Bay or Buku or Mount Irving or Castara or Spearside, you're all one and one in this whole parcel. The association mainly have people from the southwestern part of Tobago involved, but we also collaborate with all the different sectors as to how we're going forward. Right? In this area alone, we have approximately 30 or so. All of them do not do exact reef tours, but some of them are doing coastal tours, others are doing catamaran tours, but they're all part and parcel of the same product.
Okay. Now, we also have a flight coming in, a BA international flight coming in this afternoon. How do you feel about this flight coming and you all can't operate?
Well, I can't say I'm not happy for the flight. I'm happy for the flight. But in terms of what the people are going to do when they come here, it's a bit limited. Because with the closure of beaches half day, when people are flying 8,000 miles, they want to come here and at least be able to enjoy our sun, our sea, our forest, and everything else. The closure is going to hamper these people's vacation. It's going to hamper what they can do on the island. In other words, these people are not just coming here to sit in the hotel. They want to go out on a boat and enjoy the island pool. They want to go diving. They want to go snorkeling. They want to go ride a jet ski. So with the closure of beach, it's definitely going to handbug these people and give them a restricted vacation. But I'm still happy that the flight is coming. At least the hotels is going to do some business. And maybe we'll see a little upliftment in the people.
Okay. And of course, the mere fact that I had to take a little dinghy to come here means that your engine was not able to start. And, you know, as you came on the boat and as we were getting prepared for this morning, you said that there was some rust and so on. What is it going to take for you and for the other reef tour operators to get back in the game after your assets have, you know, been taking a beating, just being out here in the waters and so on, just not being used?
Well, to get things going, it would cost a lot of money for us to begin. All these boats need to be stripped. All the electricals, as you can see, is falling apart. Salt water take a beating on anything that is electrical, first of all. So as you can see, we already start stripping all the electricals from the boat. All the wiring has to come out. They have to be reinstalled. All the engines is totally corroded, and damaged in many different ways and form. These has to be redone. Now, the reason why we couldn't do this before, we're not sure when the beach are opening. So you want to do them too quickly, and then when you do them, they just stay and rot again. You have to make sure that the order is given that the beach will be reopened and we can operate before you actually start doing this. So it's all a time game. We're getting prepared, but we're not actually getting prepared because we cannot actually get prepared unless we're sure it's a go.
Yes. And of course, I mean, one of the things that has been resounding from a lot of the rift operators is that you all just want to get back to business. Is that, I mean, you'll be happy for a grant, but you all want to get back to business. So can you just tell us a little bit about that? And why is it so important that you all are just able to go back out?
Well, we don't want to be dependent on the government. We have always been, Tobago people is a proud people. We have always been independent. We don't want to have a grant of $25,000. That cannot actually do anything for us in any major way. A cost of an engine is approximately $80,000. To rewire this boat, marine-wise, is over $30,000. So the grant, as I can say, we're thankful for it, but it doesn't go a long way. We need to come out here and earn our money. We need to come out here and feed our families. We need to come out here and let Trinidad and Tobago enjoy what we have to offer. So that's why we're pleading with the government to reopen back the stock. And you see, this is a tickling effect. By reopening the beach and putting us back out to work, the people who is coming here from BA and all the other flights, they get to do something more. They're not just sitting in the hotel, but now they can come out and enjoy nature. Tobago is famous for its clean, green, and serene. We need to be able to showcase that to the people.
Okay, great. And then we also heard yesterday from Fali Augustine that, I mean, on the point of that being able to reopen all day, is that one of the motions that they're hoping to bring to the House in the next couple of months is that, you know, Tobago can open its beaches all day, even if that's not the national policy. Do you think that, are you confident that this would bring some relief to you all?
Definitely. If that can be achieved, I am not too deep into the politics of how the law of it works between Trinidad and Tobago, but if Mr. Augustine and the team can achieve this, it will be a major plus, not just for the tour operators, but for Tobago in general.
Okay, great. Well, we just want to thank you so much, Frankie, for having us and for, you know, having us on board your vessel and so on. And we wish you best of luck. Now, Tobago, I am just going to take in the sights just a little bit more. So that's it from me, Candice, and back to you in studio.
Candice?
All right. Nice.
Yes, Julian.
I see you made it over safely, but you almost allowed the cameraman to end up in the water.
Well, some of the hazards of, you know, trying to get on board with some equipment and stuff like that, and you know, I'm not too graceful, so I'm just pleased that I was able to make it all without any catastrophes.
All right, take care, Candice. All right, so viewers, we move straight along from Candice Jackson into This Day in Tobago History with Devon Adana.
This Day in Tobago History. Did you know that on January 10th, 1815, the second baronet died in Tobago? According to Wikipedia, a baronet is the lowest hereditary title British order with the status of a commoner but able to use the prefix Sir. Sir William Young became the second baronet when his father, also Sir William Young, the first baronet, died in 1788. Upon his father's death, Sir William Young, the second baronet, inherited an encumbered estate that included 4 sugar plantations, 1 in Antigua, 2 in St. Vincent, and 1 in Tobago, with a total of 896 African slaves. His father, who also served as the first non-military governor of Dominica, also left his plantations in significant debt, and most of the estate had to be sold. According to the Royal Collection Trust website, prior to the estate being sold, the young Sir William embarked on a tour of his estates in the Caribbean, surveying the land and gaining information on the conditions of those he enslaved and the sugar industry in the region. He published his findings in a book, which he used to raise funds to prevent his plantations falling into bankruptcy and to argue for an alternative to the abolition of the slave trade as advocated by William Wilberforce and other anti-slavery campaigners. According to Henry Woodcock's A History of Tobago, the second baronet became governor of Tobago on the 23rd of April 1807. While serving in Tobago, he presented a report of his detailed study of the island made in 1810 to 1812 to King George IV, the Prince Regent, in 1813. At the time of the report, the free population of Tobago was calculated to be 959, with a militia of 333 men, while the number of enslaved people on the island was estimated at 16,671. His death 206 years ago today caused the Tobago legislature to mount a tablet to his memory in what is now St. Andrew's Anglican Church in Scarborough, when it was erected in 1819. You've been watching This Day in Tobago History. My name is Devon Adana. Back to you guys in studio.
Thank you so much there, Devon Adana, for that This Day in Tobago History. So we continue on this morning on the program as we introduce Dr. Cindy
Duke. Good morning, Dr. Cindy Duke.
Good morning. How are you?
Excellent. So Dr. Cindy Duke is a medical doctor, and we know she has a very hectic and busy schedule. And I'm sure when they heard Duke before, they probably thought some family members, the entertainment sector, Winston Duke, the political sector, Watson Duke. But no, this morning we are chatting with Dr. Cindy Duke. Family to the Dukes?
Yes. The two Dukes that you referenced, one is a brother, one is a cousin. Winston is my brother.
Excellent. So we want to get a sense, we're going straight into keeping your immune system healthy. As a medical doctor operating out there in Las Vegas, correct?
Correct. So I'm a medical doctor in Las Vegas, but I'm also licensed and a full consultant there in Trinidad and Tobago, having founded the Trinidad and Tobago Center for Comprehensive Women's Health.
Okay. Sorry. My apologies. Okay, so you know, you talk about improving and strengthening the immune system in the light of COVID-19, where the vaccine seems to be the push and the move. There are some persons, as you know, who have opted to not take the vaccine. But we're not talking this morning about the mandatory vaccine. That side of things, but for those persons who choose not to, how do we work on improving our immune system?
Yeah, I think it's important to know that we actually need to take a multi-level approach to boosting our immunity. So yes, you need to take good care of your health. You need to eat healthy, and I'll go into a few things that you can do there. You have to be able to take good care of your underlying medical conditions. For example, if someone is a diabetic, if your blood sugars are not well controlled, your immune system takes a hit. But at the same time, in order to educate your immune system against the specific target and threat, we need vaccination. And so it's not either or, it's all together. And having watched the segments today and seeing the segment with the tourism sector, for example, in order for Tobago to really thrive with the burgeoning and restoration of the tourism sector, we need the locals to actually be healthy enough so that their immune system functions well, but also their immune system be educated enough such that if they're exposed to any virus, including new variants of COVID, they're prepared to survive this, not end up in the hospital. Because not only do you need your hospital for your locals, you will need to have hospital beds and availability for the tourists who are coming. So in terms of things that you can eat and drink, we encourage people have an antioxidant rich diet. Foods that are rich in antioxidants tend to be the brilliantly colored, naturally brightly colored foods, which the Tobago usual diet is actually very good at providing that. But most people who end up eating a lot of processed foods, if you're, the KFC is a good treat here and there, not to go after any specific brand, that's just an example. But the truth is, cooking your own food, making sure you're eating nutritious meals that are rich in antioxidants. The more colorful your diet in terms of naturally colored foods, the higher your antioxidant levels. Antioxidants include your vitamin C's, your vitamin D's, your vitamin B, your green leafy vegetables, the reds, the oranges, all the different colors of the rainbow really in your food, the natural colors. I'm not talking about food coloring. Really, really important. Making sure you have water. The water molecule in our body is a key ingredient in the reactions and the, as you call it, different types of reactions in our bodies that really promote how your cells fire and how they prepare your immune system in terms of support. We talk about, for example, our military. If you think of your immune cells as your military, you still need to have support services to keep the military going. In order to educate the military on how to fight, you need the vaccine. In order to make sure the military has food, water, and good barracks to really be able to be ready and strong to fight, that's where your nutrition comes in, making sure your blood pressure is under control, making sure your diabetes is under control. And so diabetes control means knowing what your blood sugars are, not just assuming they're good because you feel good, knowing what your blood sugars are. If you don't feel comfortable checking your blood sugars, going to the health center, getting it done, going in at least once every 3 months to get your hemoglobin A1C, which is a very special protein that travels in your blood and carries around sugar with it. And so when you go in to get that test done, even though we're doing the test today, it gives us a 3-month snapshot of how your blood sugars have been doing. And so your doctor, your nurse, your midwife can actually tell how you're doing and give you a sense of how you need to do better. And those are things we really need to take control of and be mindful of. Not skipping meals, making sure you're getting your breakfast, getting your lunch, getting your dinner. For our little ones, making sure they know how to wash their hands, making sure they know how to wash their hands for long enough, making sure when we use the bathroom, we wash our hands, we clean. If you have a cold, not waiting forever to find out what's going on, going in and get checked out. But it's not either or. Absolutely, we must have a healthy diet, we must exercise, and we must take care of our health. But that doesn't mean it's that or vaccination.
Like the fact, Dr. Duke, that you touched on the next area I wanted to speak to in terms of that collective, which speaks to exercise, as in how important that is. Because some people see exercise as, I live in an upstairs and downstairs house, or I go up the stairs regularly, so that's my exercise. I mean, please give us a sense of what might become routine by virtue of your lifestyle versus something that actually gets the body going a bit on a daily basis.
Yes, I grew up in Argyle, Tobago, so I know as Tobagonians we're actually naturally very active. Over the decades, we've become more sedentary. We're more reliant on our cars. We're more reliant on getting in 4 wheels and moving from place to place, even for short distances. So I do encourage, for example, in my own practice, which includes my patients there in the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago, I encourage people to get up and move, right? And nowadays we have so much technology that can help us accomplish some of those movement goals. So what I say to the average person is minimum 10,000 steps a day. How do you know you're making 10,000 steps? Well, most of our smartphones, practically everyone is moving around these days with an Android-based phone or an iPhone. Even the flip phones nowadays still have a step tracker known as a pedometer, P-E-D as in David, O-M-E-T-R. So having a pedometer, if you're someone who's at baseline already active, let's say you check in the first couple days, you're like, man, I already reached 10,000 steps a day. Then bump it up to 12,000 or 15,000 steps a day. You'd be amazed at how much you can do. But really, why do we choose 10,000 steps? 10,000 steps is equivalent to about 30 minutes on a treadmill if you were to actually go to a gym and had access to a treadmill. That movement does a number of things for your system. So simply moving around means that your body starts working on the heart heart. Your heart is what pumps blood and fluid around your body, but it also gets your lymphatic system working. Your lymphatic system is where your immune cells travel. And so you really need to have good circulation. And so movement helps circulation. We also encourage people to get massages for that reason, to really help with that circulation again. Now, you don't necessarily have to go get the fancy massage at the hotel, etc. Massage simply means when you're taking a bath, making sure you really just palpate your body, press, the same way you would have palpated a baby. And we, Tobago, we love to give a baby a good rub down. The same thing.
Yeah, Dr. Duke.
Yes, hi, Rhea.
Quick question here. Does an active sex life qualify as activity to help you, does it qualify as exercise in the whole scheme of, burning calories and keeping fit?
You do burn calories with sexual activity, no question, right? And sexual activity does come with its own boosters. So in terms of certain hormones released in the brain, there's one called endorphins, there's another one called dopamine and oxytocin. Those are things that help people feel relaxed, help them feel well-being, good, happy. But that is not considered activity in the long term unless you're doing a lot of it in one day, which the typical person doesn't. And so I like to use the 10,000 step guide, because if you're doing that plus other activities, there's no reason to think you're not meeting the baseline. Now, the other thing I encourage people to do is a little bit of what we call resistance training. So whether it be actually going to a gym and lifting some weights 3 times a week, 30 minutes per time, or just at home, if you could do some push-ups, or if you're afraid of push-ups, just standing but pressing against your wall, making sure it's a sturdy wall, and then pressing against it back and forth actually works the big muscles in your body, the muscles in your arms, the muscles in your legs, and those also help boost circulation. They also help your body go through what we call the oxidative pathways that really restore and replenish your cells.
Right, excellent. And we want to say kudos to you, Dr. Cindy Duke. We see some shout outs coming on the live. Leston Williams, Bishop's class of 1995. All right. And you know that's a big thing here in our Tobago space.
It is. I was valedictorian of that class. Leston is a classmate. Hey, Leston.
Excellent. Excellent. We really want to commend you and thank you this morning for making the time, because it sends a clear signal that people recognize even our Tobagonians doing well throughout the world are sending the same message, the need for the collective, vaccination, eating healthy, and not just doing any one, but as your message was very clear this morning, doing these things collectively to ensure that we fight.
Very true. Very true.
Any parting words before you go from this morning's interview?
Well, I'd love to say just good morning to all of Tobago. It was beautiful to see the, albeit from a distance, seeing the Nyland pool there in the background was beautiful. And, I'm wishing the best to all Tobagonians, and there's a bright future ahead, but we do have to put the work in. And if we're going to restore the things we're seeking to restore post-pandemic, we need a community effort, which is food, activity, mindset, vaccination.
All right. Well, thank you so much there. Thank you so much there. And, it was really a pleasure chatting there with Dr. Cindy Duke, our girl from, and I have to say from East Tobago, Argyle. She put it out there. She said, I'm from Argyle, Tobago. Woohoo, go Argyle.
And, I'm always very proud, because I think it's a good kind of encouragement for younger persons to recognize that we can make it in any part of the world successfully and still make our contribution right here to home and making a difference in our Tobago space.
Definitely.
So it's really a good signal here.
All right, so we are wrapping up, Julian, and we want to send a special good morning this morning to Julian Rogers. Good morning to you.
Good morning out there.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Some interesting comments coming in there. But, Tobago, we thank you for joining us today. Quick birthday greetings going out to our MP for Tobago West, Minister Shamfa Cudjoe. Look, she looks absolutely gorgeous.
Young girl ting. Minister Cudjoe, happy birthday to you. Sending birthday greetings from the Tobago Updates family. We trust that you get a little moment out of your hectic day to enjoy.
Definitely. 40 never looked better. Definitely, you look
Rhea, you're putting a woman's age out there.
I asked, she said
Minister Cudjoe, that was Rhea Richardson George. I just want to be very specific.
She put it out there, so I'm just repeating, okay? So 40 never looked better. You look absolutely gorgeous. We trust you have a really great day. And viewers, we encourage you this morning to stay safe, wear your mask, sanitize, and social distance.
Bye-bye, folks.